That's really interesting. One thing that's difficult for me is squaring my beliefs in like Enlightenment liberalism and my beliefs in Christianity, which I think a lot of times they go well together. I think God gave us brains to use, and I think, fits well with Enlightenment rationalism. I think something that I'm seeing more, I guess I had when I walked away from my faith, I had this view that a lot of the traditions around, especially like family and like morals and how to live your life, that's outdated, that's oppressive and things like that. And like the more I look into it, there's really a lot of wisdom, and like you see the breakdown of family, which results in breakdown of community, breakdown of society. And I think kind of reviving some of those norms that seem outdated or seem stifling, actually, if you kind of fit yourself into them, can actually be empowering in a lot of ways. And I think there's definitely a role for the church in that. One thing I love about my church is they talk about a lot of these like traditional biblical concepts, but they're like, okay, here's how psychology and neuroscience fit into that. And like, this is how, if you live a certain type of way, your brain reacts better. But if you're like isolated or living for short-term pleasure, your brain has a very different reaction, right? So using that type of ancient biblical knowledge applied through the lens of contemporary science and psychology and neuroscience and things like that, I think that would be very helpful to make that connection, because I think in a lot of people's minds, it's like these biblical concepts are like outdated and they're not useful anymore. I think showing people that they have pragmatic value could be really useful.